Assalamualaikum and welcome to the DigiTrends Podcast. We have a very special guest with us today. We're sitting with Atif Siddiqui Sahab. He is the president and CEO of CCL Life Sciences. So आज उनसे बात करते हैं. Let's talk about the pharma industry. Assalamualaikum Atif Sahab. How are you?
Arif, how are you?
I am well. How are you?
Good.
So let's start off. These are difficult times, as everyone knows, economically, politically, in every way. How is the industry faring?
Well, yeah, like any other industry, I would say, I think, as you very correctly mentioned, these are difficult times, but I think, this shall pass too. However, there is no second thought, I think, whatever we, let's say, we assumed or we forecasted last year when we were starting this year, nothing went in our favor, especially the exchange rate, and perhaps when it comes to our industry, as you very well know, most of the pharmaceutical products are price controlled. The cost of manufacturing has gone, up multiple times. There's an immense pressure on, let's say, profitability. Perhaps I would say not only on profitability but even to maintain, what a business like pharmaceuticals can even maintain over the last years. However, I think there has been some relaxations which has been offered by the ministry. However, it still does not make enough room for us to operate the way we, or as an industry, we should be. But let's see how it goes. As I said, I think we are still there. We are still committed as an organization, not only to manufacture quality products, but even to supply and make sure that any of our user, either the doctor or the patient, gets the best quality medicine at cost-effective prices.
Sure. I just wanted to start off and have an overview. So thank you for that. So I just want to introduce the audience to your career, and I just wanted if you could just introduce your career, like an overview of your journey, because I know you've been in this industry for 20 plus years. You've been all over the place in this country and around the world. So अगर आप थोड़ा सा मुझे introduction दे दें for us and for our audiences as well.
Well, thanks for that. But I think, as you mentioned, I think yes, 20 plus years in the industry. I think I'm blessed to still survive, with, and I think a lot of credit goes to people who managed me in my career. And I started with an organization known as Abbott in my early years. And I think this was a good long start and a long stay with them for good 15, 17 years. During the career, perhaps, I got a chance to work both in sales and marketing. And then not only limited to pharmaceuticals. In fact, within pharmaceuticals, I was lucky to work with brand generics, research products, then even mature products, where the PLC or the product life cycle, for example, is a more difficult game to manage. Then I think not only pharmaceuticals, I got even a chance to work with nutrition, where I managed a very famous brand which was being imported in Pakistan for good 40 plus years, which we got a chance to work and bring the technology from Japan to Pakistan,
wow.
so that a country like us, perhaps, can even be, further take the benefit.
We can use more of that.
Well, more of that, and perhaps, I think as a professional or as a person, let's say, who has been associated or worked most of his career in Pakistan, let's say. End of the day, I firmly believe that if a quality product or if a technology can be transferred from let's say developed part of the world to an emerging part of the world like ours, it's always a great thing to get into. Well, during this course, perhaps, as you were mentioning earlier, I think I was lucky enough not to work only in Pakistan, but in other various regions. I also got a chance to work with an MNC in their global office, which was based out of Switzerland.
Oh, lovely.
And well, yeah, it is. and and then finally, perhaps, I got a chance to work for CCL, which the journey we started 4 years back. And I think, and as of now, I'm working as a president and CEO for all the business which we do in 22 plus countries out of Pakistan. Um, by and large, CCL is a conglomerate having, let's say, 3 manufacturing sites, 2 in Pakistan, 1 in Vietnam, Ho Chi Minh. And we have our offices in 20 plus countries, as I was mentioning earlier. And we do not only export from Pakistan, we also do in-licensing, out-licensing. We also work with various CDMOs in Europe, in US, in UK. And yeah, and that's how it is. So good 20 plus years.
Awesome. Great career. How do you explain, so you've been at CCL for 4+ years. How do you explain CCL moving, how many points was it? 8 points in the AQR rankings in the past 6 years. What have you done?
Well, I think it's a great team effort, but I think by and large it has been the vision of the chair, who I think that, to be very honest with you, one of the biggest reasons of joining CCL perhaps 4 years back was just not to, was not just to get into another or a new job, compared to what I was doing earlier. But I think the vision is to be a regional multinational company. And what perhaps we as a team believe is that there's a lot of innovation which a company like us can even do and deliver at a pace which should be or which is far better than any other company within Pakistan or elsewhere where we operate. So I think one of the biggest changes which I have witnessed over the last 4 years is getting out of this export mindset. We do not work anymore with an export mindset only. We work like an MNC. We think global, but honestly we act very local. Because see, even in the let's say life sciences world, the needs of consumers or patients or doctors or the entire HCP audience of ours is different. Every country, every region is different from one another, and one size does not fit all. You have to make sure that business partnership is valued. You have to make sure that if let's say in a country where the demographics is allowing you to penetrate more into primary care therapies, it's better to do so. But and let's say in a country which has a better disposable income, or let's say a country where wellness category versus illness category has developed or is developing, so you have to keep an eye on that. So perhaps we as an organization, and our one simple, clear vision is to offer happy, healthy lives. And to do so, we try to make sure that we are doing anything and everything, starting from R&D to the to execution, or to making sure that our end customer or our end consumer gets the right quality product at a cost-effective price.
Nice. So Atif, this CCL Life Sciences develops a lot of products which are generic products,
Yep.
which are generics, and there are, I would say, dozens, maybe more, hundreds in fact, companies which are also manufacturing generic products. How do you stay ahead of the curve if you're manufacturing the same things? What do you do that differentiates you from them?
You see, I think that's a very nice question, because by and large, if you talk about Pakistan, or let's say the emerging part of the world, most of the manufacturers are into generic pharmaceutical manufacturing. However, the word which we use is to differentiate between generic and what we do is branded generic.
Oh.
So you see, we are in a brand generic pharmaceutical business by and large, and this is where a company like CCL adds value. And the value what we perhaps believe, as I was mentioning earlier, is key, is quality and the trust which, let's say, an HCP or an end consumer can have on an organization like us should be much more than an organization like any other whom we are competing with in any other country. And perhaps what differentiates us, as I was mentioning earlier, is once again, key quality. Two, offering that quality at an affordable price, which can, meet the needs of the consumers and allow them to be compliant, not only on a short term, but even in a longer term usage. Keeping very close to the HCP professional is also one of our strengths. We have been focusing on making sure that the doctors are abreast of the scientific advancements globally. And as I said, we tailor our offerings depending upon the needs of the markets where we operate, and we make sure that any unmet need, either of the doctors or of the consumers, when it comes to scientific knowledge, when it comes to keeping them professionally updated abreast, is something being met by an organization like us. And that's actually where we get, more value in the eyes of our prescribers, of our consumers. And I think a lot of credit perhaps, which should be given. However, even operating in the generic space, is to R&D. I think a lot of innovation. We aim to be quick in launching the novel molecules in time, so that we can, one, be valued by, as I was mentioning earlier, by the prescribers, but our aim is to make sure that a novel molecule can be easily available to the emerging part of the world.
So by novel you mean which doesn't exist at the moment in this market?
Well, one which, if it doesn't exist, or which is not yet launched, it's only available in the developed part of the world.
Sure, yeah.
And this allows us, as I was saying earlier, that to make sure that we are valued. And as I said, the entire objective perhaps is to keep lives of people happy and healthy. And this is where I think we are trying a level best to make sure.
That's the vision that guides everything that you do.
Absolutely.
So you mentioned R&D. I'm very curious to know, what does R&D even mean for a generics business?
That's a good question, because most of the stuff which, when you talk about R&D, I think people only think about R&D, what is done in terms of research, especially in the developed part of the world.
Developing new drugs.
Yeah, developing only new drugs. But in our part of the world, developing bioequivalent drugs, developing drugs which are equivalent to a research molecule. That's actually where R&D gets in.
Oh, okay.
So we make sure that we develop a molecule or a product, which is equivalent to a research product, but of course at a very cheaper or a lower price, so that we can offer it to the end consumer for their large benefit. Yeah.
Fair enough. So that's also, it takes research, and that's developing the right formulations. That match the needs.
And it's cumbersome. Huh? It's a lot of investment, lots of time. It's a lot of effort.
I can imagine.
And as I said, to be on time every time, that's not an easy job to do.
So I'm guessing from what you've told us, part of the strength of CCL is agility also. You're quick to the market.
Agility, an overused word perhaps, many a times in many, and especially with the paradigm shift coming over, especially during COVID days, because that's where the world started coming up, of how to get agile.
Yes.
Within CCL Life Sciences, perhaps, I would say, one of the things which you might talk to the people on the floor is a term which we use, which is AG key. Now, AG key is, in other words, means agility is key. And what we do perhaps is that we do not wait for the boss to decide. No, we work in smaller teams. We do not invest a lot of time in bureaucracy. We make sure that our team managers, our team leaders are independent, taking decisions which are supposed to be best in the given circumstance, and the entire support function team should be ready to offer the best which can help ensure quick execution, because most of the times in few companies or few organizations where there are complex structures where let's say the job definitions are not clear or job roles are not clear, people at times get too busy in doing meetings, and that's where execution gets questioned. So in our case, we make sure that agility is key, and that perhaps I think has played an immense role in how we have evolved over the years.
And so it sounds like it's part of your culture, and so as
part of the DNA, brother. It's part of the DNA. Culture, yes, but it's part of the DNA. Agility in our case, I believe, is part of the DNA. Yeah.
Brilliant. In fact, it almost sounds like a tech company operating. Small teams, less bureaucracy, quick decision making. I mean, that's a lot we can learn from the tech revolution that's happened.
Absolutely correct. Absolutely correct.
Well done to you guys. I want to talk about, now that you've mentioned technology, I want to talk about innovation, because obviously this is the DigiTrends podcast, so we have to talk about, and it's entirely relevant in this day and age. What does innovation mean to the pharmaceutical industry as a whole, and then specifically to CCL?
So, see, innovation is core. Even working for a generic pharmaceutical company, if you're not innovating, meaning launching the right or the novel molecules at the right time, there's no space for you to then survive. Because then you would, as you were mentioning earlier, a generic company, you won't be able to create that value. So that innovation perhaps is limited to research and development, which we do in terms of launching the novel molecules,
right,
in any market where we operate. And as I said, the ultimate benefit or the ultimate objective there is to perhaps meet the unmet need of the consumers, to make them compliant at a cost-effective price. That's actually how it is. Now, but innovation does not end there, because innovation, as I was mentioning earlier, if it is a core, then innovation has got a lot to do with digitalization, with automation, with the way we think, the way we, the way we operate as a whole, as an organization, and
in all the functions.
In all the functions,
yes.
Absolutely, in all the, starting from supply chain, sales, marketing, business development. Talking about our external ACP digitalization, for that matter, talking to our doctors in a way which is most convenient and time saving and novel as well, and I think a lot of effort has been made within the organization to ensure that innovation remains, the core of anything which we do, not only limited to R&D of the molecules or the products which we market. Yeah.
And could you speak a little bit more about digitalization in this industry?
Well, I think, however, I would say in the industry, digitalization was always there. I won't say that it wasn't, but I think it made or it got more visible, or it got more into discussion when the entire world got into this COVID stuff, because that's actually where people thought as if it is definitely impossible to survive if you're not digitalized, or if you're not using the technology or the AI.
And for a while, that was the only outlet we had. That was our reality.
I remember during COVID days,
Wasn't too long ago.
No, it wasn't. And I would say that especially during COVID days, for good 8 to 10 hours, I used to be on Zoom, talking to my colleagues and, various people world over. And however, that does not mean that Zoom wasn't there before COVID. It was always there.
Yes.
I mean to say, but the usage
became front and center during
absolutely,
COVID.
Absolutely. And I think those, and in the West, perhaps, this was always the case. While I used to work for the MNC in the global office in Switzerland, as I was saying earlier. We used to use the spider phones, Of course, Zoom was still, or Skype was still not, was used the way it is used now. But most of these discussions were on spider phones, were on these, conference calls, and because in any case, let's say in my case, I used to manage good 90 plus countries. So you cannot afford to travel the whole world during a month. So you have to pick and choose. So but when this COVID came in, it was a different ball game altogether. And I think a lot of credit goes to the younger lot, the Generation Z, which we usually, and I think a country like us, Pakistan, is blessed. Reason, we are a young country. 65% plus of our population is below the age of 30. So adapting to this new technology, or adapting to this Zoom world was not that difficult. And I think the organization like ours was ready enough, to take the lead there as well. And I guarantee you, many of those organizations whom I know here or in the region or globally, they were not able to keep it up. They were lacking in that, and that's actually where, I think during those years especially, not even a single day the plant was shut, either here or in Vietnam. Not even a single day.
That's brilliant.
Meaning, and what I'm trying to say is, this is not a plant manufacturing candies. This is a plant manufacturing pharmaceutical therapies. Well, one, it was yes, a regulator pressure, but it was also a pressure, of the professional in which we are, because we are here to manufacture good quality stuff to serve, and there was an immense need of many of the products which we manufacture, So
you couldn't abandon your consumers.
Well, you cannot, because this is where the test of the time is. This is where you have to get into an act where you have to decide that this is what you signed for, because you, as I was mentioning earlier, you're not in business of selling candies and gums. You are in serious life sciences business, and this is the time where an organization like us, the entire team of us was, and there were times where people are overwhelmed, but that's how it is, This is
the whole world was overwhelmed at that time.
Oh yeah.
But we made it through. And the industry made it through, and CCL made it through, and has been thriving since.
Very true.
So that's brilliant. I I want to ask a couple of more questions which I'm curious about. So one is you mentioned HCP relationships that you've built. Of course, that's the cornerstone of pharmaceutical marketing and sales. What about because obviously you also CCL Life Sciences also has non-regulated OTC products as well for a lot of them. What is your relationship and how do you develop that relationship with consumers, patients, as well as your distribution partners, the retail partners as well?
So I'm sure you might have heard of omni-channel. You know, this is part of almost, let's say, all the life sciences or healthcare organizations nowadays. We operate in a similar fashion. To be very honest with you, I think there is a space which is called illness, there is a space which is called wellness, and as we operate in both. You know, we have products which, if used proactively, for example, the vitamin mineral supplements which we have, the nutraceutical products, if used in advance proactively, this can avoid you getting into illness. You know,
Sure.
and let's say, God forbid, if anyone gets ill, you know, either in a primary care disease or a chronic care disease, we offer medicines there also. Most of the markets, either here or elsewhere, are regulated, which means whenever a patient has to undergo a clinical treatment, they usually approach a doctor, who prescribes a product needed by that particular person in that particular need, and so is how our products by then are available at a retail pharmacy, or let's say a chain pharmacy, or at an e-commerce pharmacy, you know, whatever channel is available in that particular country. And we make sure that through our distributors or through our business partners, you know, we are available whenever the prescription lands at any of these accounts. Coming to the second part of your question, where we approach the consumer directly, and if you're allowed to, in terms of the regulation of that market in which we operate, yes, we have various digital channels which we use. We have, all these Facebook and Instas and all that pages which we have of various brands which we promote. Then we also work very closely with, let's say, in public groups or public forums, where some sort of endorsement advisory, runs, and people are looking for influence. People in various categories get influenced with, let's say we are in women health or women hygiene,
Sure.
then they are looking for some endorsements from a dermatologist or from a cosmetologist, or from a let's say we are in infant formulas also, wherein then people, they look for some endorsements not only from doctors but even from existing users, from older mothers, let's say. So so this is and we have ways to approach them. We have ways to communicate the benefits of our product, and if that makes sense to them, we make sure that it is available at all the forums from where they can purchase it, use it. We have mechanism to ensure that we seek their feedback, so that a continuous improvement, can be brought in.
That's very important.
Because those days are gone. When you sell and you say,
one way.
This is this. So
Yeah.
so to keep a close eye on of how your product is delivering, we have certain mechanism, in which we take feedbacks from both HCPs as well as consumers, so that a continuous improvement can be made.
Great. So you have relationships with all these different groups of people and channels.
Absolutely.
Atif, last question.
Please.
And I think it's a very important question, because you just mentioned that one of our strengths as a country, as a market, is that our population is we have a huge young population below the age of 30. So there are lots of people who want to enter this industry, who want to work in this industry, who want to thrive and make it a career. What are the success factors what would you advise somebody who aspires to do well in this industry?
Well, I think let's say the advice which I have followed, is when the student is ready, the teacher appears. So, honestly speaking, it all depends upon you. If you are ready to behave like a good student, anyone can be your teacher, So when I started without knowing where I'll be landing, because from day one you don't know where you land, But when I entered, I think as I was mentioning earlier, I was lucky enough to get hold of leaders and managers in my way or during my career who were very honest. I think who were very honest in giving me feedback where I was good and where I was not. So that I was very let's say initially I used to feel bad at times when I never used to get the right feedback. However, I still do at times when I don't get the right feedback. But I think as every human, I'm still learning. But those advices helped. So I kept. So you need to keep yourself grounded. And I think one of the biggest reasons, perhaps anyone entering, let's say, pharmaceuticals or life sciences or the healthcare industry is, there the objective should not only be to build your career. There the objective should also be what can you perhaps return back to the society. In many of the emerging economies, the pharmaceutical landscape is nascent. It's not developed. It's still developing. It is. I really feel extremely good and happy when I visit a country and I meet let's say a doctor or a patient or anyone who is using CCL products, and they thank us saying that you are offering us the right quality, you're offering us a product which is new. For example, I used to take 5 tablets a day, but because of this product of yours, I'm only using 1 tablet. I'm just giving examples, Or let's say if the delivery mechanism of an older product was not as convenient as any of our product, and it really makes me feel as if I'm doing the right job each day before I go home, and this keeps me motivated to come back to the office. It's not only being the chief executive. It's not only being that good 20 years pass and I had to land wherever I am. No, I think it has to be it has to be a larger objective. It's not only just to build a career, because while building a career, if you're not keeping the larger objective in mind, then perhaps it can be a problem as well. Then you might just keep struggling on what to do and what not to. But if you have a larger objective in mind, then the struggle is over. And then you can move on in a more motivated way. You can persuade yourself and many others around you in a wiser way. So I think my advice is very, 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 very clear to anyone who is entering any industry, not only pharmaceutical. That keep your head down, be vigilant enough to see the future. Be equipped. Don't only be a hard worker, be a smart worker. Especially now. You cannot live without AI. You cannot live without the the benefits of, however, when we started, I think 25 years back, these were not given, So we had to adapt. But I think a country like us, which is a young country, and people now, I notice, the younger people are much smarter, and I think this country has a bright future, and I'm sure, we will do a great job as one country.
Those are uplifting words. Atif, thank you so much for
Pleasure.
your time. It was such a pleasure talking to you and learning about this wonderful industry of ours.
Pleasure.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Have a very good day ahead, sir.
You too.
Thank you.
And thank you for watching the DigiTrends Podcast. See you with another episode. Khuda Hafiz.